नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, वणक्कम, खंबा गणी, राम राम साहब सभी को ऑल्टरनेट मीडिया में फिर से स्वागत है। हमारे साथ फिर से जुड़े हुए हैं पीवीआर नरसिम्हा राव सर। अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम ऑन द शो।
Thank you, Gayatri ji, and namaskar to all your audience.
जी। Uh, it happens when when we go to a place, we feel certain energies. When we meet somebody, we feel very present, even without the other person saying a word. When we go to some place, we feel very scared. So these are certain kind of emotions which cannot be explained by words, or you feel it. You feel certain energies. So the topic of today is you know um, how we feel positive and negative energies when we meet a person or when we go to a place, and what do they actually imply? What is the science behind such kind of energies? Over to you, sir. Ji.
Thank you. Uh, the bottom line is whenever whoever is at a particular place, whatever thoughts that person engaged in, whatever actions that person engaged in, there is a vibration in the consciousness. According to Vedanta, the whole universe and all the beings are one connected Atman, one connected Brahman. And within that, just like quantum mechanics says that there is just space and then there is an appearance of mass by energy basically appears as waves of energy here and there sparsely appear as mass. Similarly, there is just Brahman, there is just Atman, and then there is an appearance of various beings. So, as these beings, like you, me, and various human beings, animals, etc., are thinking various things, feeling various emotions, there is a vibration corresponding to that, and these vibrations are happening in the universal consciousness. That is one connected entity across the universe. Now, these vibrations are at 4 different levels according to Shastras. There are these levels are called Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. What we are normally accustomed to when we talk about vibrations and speech is Vaikhari. When I am speaking, my lips are moving, so the air particles are vibrating. So the air around me is vibrating, and that's coming to the mic here, and it's basically going, and people are finally listening to it. So there is a physical, a material vibration of the air particles. But the thing is, above this, there are 3 other levels of vibrations, or what is called in the Shastras as Sabda. There are 4 levels of Sabda. Vaikhari is the grossest level. The subtlest level is Para. It is basically, Para means that which is beyond. Actually, let us go from Vaikhari to the deeper level. The one before Vaikhari is Madhyama. Madhyama literally means medium. So, when I'm thinking, when a thought arises in my mind, I am trying to express it in words. Before I utter these words, I'm thinking there is some faculty within my mind that is coming up with these words. That is coming up with these words. It's generating those words in my mind in a medium which is spoken language. I'm basically English is the medium here. Similarly, we may speak in Hindi, we may speak in various languages, or just facial expression. I may look like this, or I may look like this. That is also a medium. So all these things that are externally perceivable, you are translating to that. So the translation stage that is happening in your mind is the Majma stage. So uh, at that level also, your mind is vibrating with some thought because you are subconsciously thinking of what words to use. And even subtler than that, deeper than that is the level Pashyanti. Pashyanti literally means like seeing. So it is the visualization stage where you haven't thought of words, etc. You haven't expressed it in any tangible words, in any tangible medium, but there is some image in your mind. You may not be explicitly seeing an image in your mind, but an image is developing in your mind, in your brain, in your consciousness. So at the level of that visualization, the thought that is arising is expressed as an image, and then that's converted to words, and then that's basically uttered, resulting in physical vibrations. And even before that, there is a level called Para. At the level of Para literally means beyond everything. So it is very subtle. So when you are thinking of something, there is a subtle vibration in your consciousness, a very, very subtle one. It's not even expressed as a visualization, as something that you are imagining. It's not even imagined. It's basically a seed of a thought. So even the seed has a vibration associated with it. So these are, you can in terms of modern language, you can say these are at different frequencies. When you speak, there are different frequencies, right? So these are, apart from the physical level, these are, the other three are subtle, because our shastras say that material body is only a small portion of who you are. There is something beyond matter. So there is a subtle body that all of us contain. So in that subtle body, there are these three other levels of vibration apart from the Vaikari. So suppose I'm thinking something positive or negative, even if I don't say anything, the very fact that I'm thinking something, I'm feeling something, there is an emotion, there is an experience, there is a vibration in the consciousness corresponding to where I am, who I am. So that vibration is there. Basically, what the Shastra says is, any vibration in the consciousness, it just remains. Even in modern science, even in terms of material world, the material vibrations, physical vibrations that we are aware of, we know that they don't completely die. There is the decay. So there are some remnants of vibrations that are there in space. So that, for example, things that happen to various stars, if a star decayed, that the sound from that star's decay will remain forever. Basically, the thing is, the intensity will keep decreasing, the amplitude will keep decreasing with time, but the vibration itself is there forever. Similarly, just like those material vibrations, the subtle vibrations in the consciousness from various thoughts that somebody engaged in, that remains forever. The thing is, the only issue is depending on how strong the thought was, how strong the imagination was, how strong the expression was. It may be the intensity may change, but the exact expression of that vibration in the intensity, the amplitude will be varying. But the thing is, in space, not just the physical space, but also subtle space, physical space as well as the subtle space in the cosmos, there are all kinds of vibrations from every being that ever lived here. And now coming to different places, if there is a temple where lot of people visited the temple with lot of positive thinking, thinking that there is God here, there is Ma here, she's going to rescue me, she's going to save me, or there is Balaji here, he's going to solve all my problems and things are going to be fine for me. So when people engage in certain kind of thought pattern, if lot of people with similar thinking, similar thoughts, similar vibrations in the consciousness spend time at a particular place, obviously that vibration becomes predominant at that place. So when you are at that place, see, another thing is, now that vibration that is there at different levels, para, pasyanti, madhyama, vaikhari, that touches your consciousness, because you exist not only physically, you also exist at various levels yourself. So at the subtlest levels of your being, those vibrations that are there remaining in that space will touch you. If, of course, if there is a loudspeaker and if somebody is playing a mantra there, you hear it physically. But the thing is, even if it's not physical, even if it is a subtle thought in the mind, a visualization in the mind, or just a seed of a thought in the mind that things are going to be great now. I'm at a great place, things are going to be great now. So like that, the thoughts that various people engaged in create an energy pattern in a place. So some places where people engaged in a lot of negative thinking, a lot of sad thinking, places of disasters, etc. If, for example, there was a place where thousands of people died in a big building crash or some accident or train crash, all those people, when they basically perish suddenly, unexpectedly, there may be some chaos going on in their mind, some regrets, some negative emotions in general. So those negative emotions that were felt by them are left there as remnant vibrations. Whereas if you go to a place where a lot of spiritual activities or religious activities were performed, and people were in a calm state of mind and a state of faith or belief in God, that is the energy that will be prominent there. And the thing is, sometimes the physical signs of that may go. For example, there may be a temple where lot of people worship God sincerely, and maybe even a great rishi engaged in lot of tapasya there. In which case, there will be lot of positive energy in that particular place. And after that, there may not be any idol there. The temple may have been moved, but the thing is, the vibrations may still be there. So when you go there, you may feel really, really nice, even though there is no physical sign of why that should be nice. Similarly, there may be temples, there may be nothing there basically. It may just be an idol, a stone or bronze or some metallic object. And if not really a lot of sadhana was done by anybody there, and not many people visited there with a lot of positive thinking. Suppose a temple was started, and since then only corrupt people who want to save themselves go there, and they're thinking, engaging in some perverted thoughts when they are there, like selfish thoughts, etc. That may be the predominant vibration there. So when you go there, it may not really give you nice feeling. So these things really depend on the history of that place from time minus infinity. But the thing is, obviously, recent things have a higher weight because it's a weighted. The vibrations are slowly decaying. So things that are from a distant past are lesser in amplitude, unless it had a very high amplitude to start with. Then basically, even as it decays, it may still be a high amplitude. So if Agastya or Vasishtha did some sadhana, suppose you go to near Rishikesh, there is a place called Vasishtha's Guha. So if you go there, you feel really nice vibrations because Vasishtha did sadhana there, and because Vasishtha did sadhana there, so many great souls, so many great sadhakas did sadhana there. So it has been replenished from time to time, and moreover, the person who originally did sadhana there is Vasishtha, not a normal person, Sri Rama's guru. So, depending on the amplitude of the energy when it started, and depending on the time that has passed, the energy that is remaining now, will be the residual energy will be accordingly. It is varying. It's not fixed. But the bottom line is, some places do have a lot of positive energy, and some places, especially places of great accidents, big accidents, etc., have a lot of negative energy. That is why some people, they actually go to places of negative energy, places of accidents, and try to do some sadhana there, try to do some pujas, intense sadhana there, so that you are compensating for the negative vibrations there, so that the places are kind of sanctified.
Right. Sir, you said a person carries a negative and a positive energy, and sometimes it's not even necessary that we need to identify. But for some people, they are not able to make up their mind whether the person they are interacting or the place they are visiting is a
Mhm.
positive or negative energy. How do we identify these, especially when the signals are mixed? You know? Yeah.
Yeah, it is very difficult because first let's talk about places and then we'll come to people. So if you go to a place, there may be multiple effects there. There may be multiple uh, influences. It may not be a singular influence, but the thing is, predominantly, if there is a positive influence, you will feel more relaxed. You will feel more calmer. Or in some cases, it may not be a peaceful or calming kind of energy. You feel more energetic and you feel like you got some new energy to do some things, important things that you are planning to do, but you are postponing. So there may be a boost of energy or boost of calmness, basically things that are helpful in your journey of life. If you feel those emotions in a particular place, probably that's a good place for you to visit frequently. Whereas if you go to a place and you feel dull, you don't or you feel agitated, basically the opposite of peacefulness. You feel agitated, nervous, or you feel dull, you don't feel like doing anything. Perhaps that place has a negative energy. So the thing is, there are multiple signs, but you basically see what is the predominant influence of that place. And of course, in many places there may not be any predominant influence because the residual energy may be very little, and it may not really impact you that much, so you may not really care. But the thing is, if you really feel at a particular place, if you feel something special, either positively or negatively, it is a good idea to be sensitive to that, and not basically spend too much time in that particular place. When you see, people look at vastu when they go to a house they look at vastu, etc. See, vastu is important, even though I will say, just like Jyotish Shastra, Ayurveda, etc., lot of traditional subjects of rishis have been corrupted. So the understanding, today's understanding, may be superficial. There may be more depth to it, just like in Jyotisha. So, but the thing is, vastu is a valid science. But the thing is, apart from the vastu of the physical space, there may be positive and negative energy. So when you go to a place, even if it has good vastu, if you feel agitated there, or you feel really dull there, probably it's not a good idea to buy your house there or buy your office space there. So be aware of not only the other rules, but also how it makes you feel. And there is one more thing. Some people, they have a kavach around them. If you do a lot of sadhana, a kavach literally means a shield. An aura, a shield of aura is created around you. As you, if you engage in the same sadhana, basically what happens is, you do, let's say, Durga Kavacham or Chandi Kavacham or Narayana Kavacham every day, or doesn't even have to be a Kavacham. Of course, Kavachas are specifically protective in nature. Suppose you do Saptashloki or Saptasati regularly, or you read Aditya Hridayam regularly, then that Devata's energy, you are contemplating that Devata's qualities, you are surrendering to that Devata. So, as you think of a particular Devata and the nature of that Devata, those qualities of the Devata, that nature will start establishing itself in your consciousness. So, slowly, a little bit of your personality is placed by the personality of the Devata that you are worshipping. So, that basically, that becomes an energy shield around you. And particularly if somebody chants a kavacham, like Chandi Kavacham, Narayana Kavacham, Varaha Kavacham, Venkateshwara Kavacham, there are so many kavachas. If you chant a kavacham on a regular basis, it certainly creates a protective shield around you. So in those cases, it's basically like uh, you you are going to a place where there's a loudspeaker, but your ears are covered with an earplug, so you hear it very faintly. So like that, your subtle body is not so sensitive to the vibrations around it. Basically, you're shielded from some of the vibrations. So some of the vibrations that are inconsistent with the devata. Suppose you are worshipping Narayana Kavacham, and then there are a lot of dharmic vibrations there. A lot of dharmic work was done there, and there's a lot of energy to do dharmic work. That will not be shielded, because that is consistent with the nature of the kavacham. So it basically, you benefit from that, the nature of the vibrations that are consistent with the devata that you are worshipping. But things that are inconsistent, you are shielded from it. So doing some prayer regularly, like a kavacham, is a useful thing to shield yourself from undesirable influences. Uh, so the thing is, what I was trying to say is, some people are more sensitive, some people are less sensitive to these things. It depends on how much protection they have, how weak their protection is, or how strong their protection is. So different people are sensitive in different ways. Now coming to people,
जी,
just like I said, the energy, places have their own energy. People engage in various thoughts. So all the thoughts that you ever engaged in this life as well as previous lives, because the thoughts you engaged in your previous life do remain with you as vasanas within your chitta, which is a part of the subtle body. Those are those remain there as uh, things that pull you in some direction, things that push you away from some things or pull you towards some things. So those vibrations are there in your consciousness. So everybody carries their own unique vibrations at birth. Every person comes with certain vibrations, and you add to them either positive or negative vibrations as you go through the journey of life. So everybody has their own vibrations in their consciousness. So when you come in touch with a person, when you're close to the person, the your subtle body is sensing those vibrations. Just like if you are sitting next to me, whatever I am saying, you hear with your ears. Similarly, even if I don't say physically, whatever is there in my mind at the para or pashyati or majjama level, your body can perceive it. And the thing is, the thumb rule is, for Vaikhari, the distance, you have to be at a particular distance to hear it, because it decays, right? As I mentioned, with distance also things decay. Not only with time, but also with distance, the sabda, the amplitude of the sabda, of the sound waves or the vibration waves decays. But the thing is, Madhyama has a higher distance at which it basically decays. Pashyanti is even higher, and Para is beyond. So it is at the level of subtle consciousness. So it is basically the whole universe is connected there. So at the Para level, some rishi who's able to basically be aware of vibrations affecting his para mind, his mind at the para level, that rishi is able to perceive various vibrations that are there in the cosmos. So the thing is, you are you so things that are away from you also can affect you, but clearly things that are close to you when you're near a person, that can affect you even more, because now we are talking about lower level of sabda, not at the para level. So it does impact you. And there is one more interesting thing here. It's not just about good and bad, it is about consistent and inconsistent. As I mentioned earlier, if your nature is to be detached, if you have Shiva nature, let's say, to be detached and not care about things, and if the vibration is positive but it is about energy, doing things, etc., it is an inconsistent vibration. So it's not just about whether the other person is a saint or a sinner. It is also about what are the runas, what is the direction that person is moving in, and what is the direction that your consciousness is moving in. What is the life path? Are they parallel, are they opposite? So depending on that, some people, they have a positive influence on you. When you are with them, you feel calm, you feel nice, you feel energetic. With some people you feel dull, you feel agitated, nervous, worried. So it is a good idea if you the other thing is, if you consciously try to think too much, your own thoughts will impact what is happening in your consciousness. So if you just try to relax, try to not think much, not do much, just absorb the company, just be in somebody's company as calmly as possible for you, then the real impact of that person on you will be more visible to you, more, it'll affect you more. Because like they say, if you see the reflection in a lake. Let's say if the lake is clear, the reflection is clear. If you throw stones in the lake and lake is vibrating, then the reflection of the tree or sky above it will be messed up. You can't judge the nature of the clouds above in the sky. So similarly, if your own mind is really perturbed already, the you can't completely judge the impact of the other person. So try to calm down, don't think too much, don't be overactive or overthinking. Just relax, chill, and then sit in the company of somebody, and then you can see what is the impact of that person. If the impact is not positive on you, it doesn't mean the person is a negative person. It just means either the person is negative, or the person's energy and agenda and vasanas are inconsistent with your own agenda and vasanas. So better to stay away from that person. So like this, if you develop some sensitivity and some calmness to judge these things, you can judge the impact of various people and in various places on you, and you can basically uh, develop your relations and interactions in a more meaningful and fruitful way.
Ji. Anna, I'll start with because we've been talking more about persons, positive and negative persons. Does a person's energy change with the kind of mahadasha that they have? Like some person during Rahu Mahadasha have a very negative energy, or
Mm.
some people during Jupiter Mahadasha, because Jupiter is Guru, have very positive energy. So does the, I would say, the soul, right? We have a soul, so does that change with the Mahadasha, or the soul remains the same, but the surrounding changes, and then they, what do you say? They send out positive or negative energy. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing is the soul is a nice word, but the thing is, the word that we have in our shastras is atman, and our concept of atman is, your atman and my atman are not different, they are connected, they are one basically. Like basically, there is one space in which all molecules and all objects are there. Similarly, atman is just one singular entity. It is effectively brahman according to upanishads. So but the thing is, there is a jiva, there is a living being. Atman has no life, no death, no birth, etc. It is eternal. But the jiva, the living entity, which is characterized by uh, uh, manobuddhi chitta hankara, your ego sense, your I sense, your chitta, your memories, your subconscious and conscious memories, your mind, your perceptive mind, your buddhi, your intellect, the discriminatory intellect. So all these basically define you. And the main thing there is chitta, your own conditioning, your own vasanas. This is good, this is bad, this is desirable, this is undesirable. I want this will make me happy, this will make me sad. All these notions are there in your chitta. So these are what constitute a jiva. So that jiva, based on the vritti of the chitta, based on the nature of the chitta, of the memories, of the conditioning, has carries a different sets of vibrations. A saint has one kind of vibration. A saint who wants to reach the feet of Lord has one set of vibrations, and a politician, an evil politician who just wants to kill people to get power, he has a different set of vibrations. But what you said is right. Even though people have they have a, to start with, there is a profile, but there are modulations in it based on time, based on the dasyas, antardasyas, etc., and based on the gochara, based on basically with time, nothing is static, everything is dynamic. So with time, the one set of vibrations in your consciousness become less visible, and another set of vibrations become more visible. In, for example, in Rahu Dasha, your desire to get whatever you wanted to get may be dominating more. In Guru Mahadasha, your desire to basically do dharmic work, be a good citizen of the world, may dominate. Of course, I'm generalizing here. This is stereotyping. Depending on what Rahu and Guru do in a particular chart. In somebody's chart, Rahu may be the 12th lord of Moksha Sthana. So that person in Rahu Dasha, he may be more detached. Whereas Guru may be a Papa Graha in one particular chart. He So that person may engage in, for example, he may be in a particular chart. Guru may be the 6th lord. So that person he may be the 3rd and 6th lord. So he may be quarrelsome, he may be basically aggressive during the Guru Mahadasha. So it also depends on the role played by the planet in the chart, but definitely there will be variations with the dasas and with the gochara. Things are not static. And one more thing is, if you take Valmiki, forget about dasas. Valmiki was a hunter who basically killed birds to live, and then after he did sadhana with the mantra Mara, he just kept chanting it. He became a Maharshi. So obviously, if you went to him when he was a hunter, probably some vasanas were still there hidden, but the predominant vasanas at that time were different. So obviously, people do evolve, and Dasyas and Gochara tries to basically throw light on.
Yeah. This is very interesting. Like now, sir, I'll come to the places. Why is it that like the old temples you go, the
Mhm.
old temples have a positive? You said a lot of people go there, but there's been theory that they are at the centers of magnetic centers. So that's
Mhm.
why they have positivity radiating. Because I'll tell you, in Africa there are a lot of temples, like
Mhm.
100-year-old temples you can find in Africa, because Hindus came, they made temples. But I have seen some old, I cannot say that this is a very good temple or this. When you go there, is the time you feel whether you're connected or not connected. So
Mhm.
does the magnetic radiations or the location, their oldness or newness, impact the energy around the temple?
One thing is, I think ancient people were probably more clever than we give them credit for. Basically, I am of the firm opinion that there was a very highly evolved civilization before the Mahabharata war, around 5,000 years back. And then after the Mahabharata war, there was a lot of destruction, and civilization kind of did a reboot, a reset. So people retained some knowledge, but there was some corruption, and also a lot of islands of knowledge developed. Even though the whole world was connected and a lot of this knowledge was understood by a lot of people, we had islands basically where certain kinds of knowledge were preserved. So people were struggling. So I will not be surprised if ancient people were aware of some understanding of this divine Shakti, the subtle energy. And it may not be just electromagnetic, there may be other subtler aspects, and they may have been able to judge these, and they may have picked really nice energy centers for constructing some of these ancient temples. Because we do feel, like you correctly said, some ancient temples where people don't even go, people are not even aware of, you feel really very positive vibration. You can, if you meditate there, you can go into a nice state much faster than at a normal place. So there is definitely something in some old temple, maybe not all, but some. So one possibility is the people who developed temples there were more evolved than us. They understood, more spiritually evolved than us. They understood some subtle aspects of judging these energies. And it may not be just physical. Electromagnetic is just a physical aspect. There may be other subtler aspects that we are not aware of now. The other thing I will say is, uh, people of those days were definitely capable of doing more sadhana. Now, if somebody meditates for half hour, he's like, "Can I stop now?" It's very rare for somebody to spend 8 hours a day meditating. Or, but the thing is, in the old days, there were people who were spending the whole day meditating. And when you do that, when you basically divert your mind from the sense objects and focus it inward for such a long duration, you will definitely overcome your vasanas, and you will be in a nice state. You'll be much closer to the Atman, the indwelling self, than people today are. So the spiritual caliber of the people then was higher. So when they did intensive sadhana, that sadhana, those vibrations will energize that place with a rich kind of energy. And the other thing is, if it's an old temple that became that lost its popularity long back, probably a lot of modern people did not visit, which is a blessing in disguise, because many popular temples are frequented by people who just want money, fame, or I want that girl to be attracted to me, or I want 10 girls to be attracted to me. This kind of really undesirable thoughts, really very low level thoughts, very lowly desires people have these days, because we are living in deep Kali Yuga. People have a lot of perverted thinking. So they may be God fearing, they may go to a temple, but there will be a lot of undesirable thoughts. So those are polluting. Those are basically diluting the energy. So if there is an old temple that wasn't frequented, and moreover, this really increased in the last few hundred years. Even 1,000 years back, people were much purer. Even I'll say 400 years back, people may have been more primitive in their ways of living, the way we look at it materially. But the thing is, they were simpler people. Their needs were simpler. In the end, needs and desires are what corrupt your mind. If your needs are simple, your desires are simple, it is easier to find God than if your needs are really really messy and complex and convoluted. So when this decadence happened in the human civilization, that was predominantly in the last millennium or last few centuries. So if any temples that weren't really frequented by a lot of people in this duration, it's a blessing in disguise. So I think all these reasons probably contributed to some of the ancient temples really having that pristine energy even today.
No, it is my own experience that there have been many places in Africa I went, and then all of a sudden one day I was driving through some road, and I saw a small temple kind of a thing,
Hmm.
and combined with all the temples that I have visited in Africa,
Hmm.
that place, that secluded place where there was a banyan tree, small. It's not a very big temple, but just a small, very small one, small structure. And when you sit there, the kind of feelings that you get, I can still relate myself to that temple only, not to the others. And those kind of temples, they leave a mark in your heart. Like when you want to go to a temple, you want to go there, absorb those energies, and feel better. They heal
That is
your
absolutely
mind.
true, sir. Yeah, that is absolutely true. The thing is, one thing people think is temples don't have to be just uh, temples of Hindu devatas. See, I believe that in the old days, whole world was connected, and there was just Sanatan Dharma practiced everywhere. And some of these traditions that are practiced in South America, Africa, Central America, or even North America, all these may have been connected in distant past that we lost track of now, because we do see some similarities between the practices, between the nomenclature of the devatas, between the imagery, iconography of the devatas, etc. So if you not only in Africa, in North America, I do see some places where there are some places where Native Americans spent a lot of time. You can find some nice energy, and it doesn't even have to be a temple. There are some sacred spots that basically Native Americans considered sacred, and they did some sadhana their own way, tried to connect to the divine in those places for generations. And those places, if you go there, you especially you find such places more, even in where I live, northeastern US, we have some, but particularly in the northwestern southwestern US and northwestern US, the western parts of US, we have a lot of such spots. So I believe that whole world has a lot of such energy centers as a result of sadhana done by simple and humble people who really desired to connect with divine and did not have a lot of complex and convoluted desires in life.
Right. So, but have you noticed? And I mean, we are talking about positive, but we also have to. We cannot forget the negative. The balance of nature, as we say.
Right.
Places where there have been wars, or where there have been a lot of people. For example, I'm just
Right.
giving you Kurukshetra.
Yeah.
There's always a negative energy, and that place has never been happy. Go to Middle East countries.
Yeah.
Is it? How do we explain these areas, the negative centers, rather?
Yeah. Like I said, if somebody did a lot of negative activity or somebody suffered great mishap, if the jiva is forced to leave the body suddenly, without planning, without preparing, and there is an element of shock there, then there is a lot of distress there. So the distress that is felt by innumerous people in a big war, if you go to places where big wars happen, or go to, for example, when if you go to Jallianwala Bagh, you try and sit meditate there, you can feel some agitation. So there are places like that where there is some mishaps happen. A lot of people unexpectedly lost life suddenly, or a lot of destruction happened, a big accident happened, or big war happened. There is some negative vibration there. So that is why, like I said, some people try to go and create positive energy to balance that. But the thing is, usually people just avoid those places. So you just end up having those vibrations there for a long time. So unfortunately, we do have such places. The thing is, in the case of in modern places, we know, yeah, this thing happened here, this thing happened here. But there are places where you don't know what happened, but it is possible that 1,000 years back something really disastrous happened there. You may not know what it is. So when you go to some places, you do feel some really negative and disturbing energy. So unfortunately, it is like you said, good and bad balance in this world. So that is also a reality. We just have to be, uh, if we encounter such negative energies, there are two options. If you feel that it is your dharma, if you strongly feel from within that it is your dharma to do something there, something about that place, you can do some sadhana there. The other option is just stay away if it's not really part of your dharma.
Right. And another though it's very common, but have you noticed, sir, that majority of the positive centers that whether be it temple or any praying place, they are connected with nature. Very rarely places connected with nature will have negative energy, which if you just open your brain, you will think that ghost. Very rarely those are ghost centers, or places where you find negative energies. But majority of the negative places are not connected with nature. You
Mhm.
won't see greenery, you won't see trees. For example, the deserts, the
Mhm.
Kurukshetra, the Middle Eastern countries,
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have a good point there. I don't really have any more thoughts on it, but that's a good point. In general, Mother Nature is nourishing. That is her nature. It is her nature to be nourishing. So places where Mother Nature is flourishing and lot of jivas are flourishing, those places basically. The other thing is, when if there is a lot of negative energy in a particular place, it may not be conducive to flourishing of various living beings there. So it may work the other way also. It may be both the ways. But yeah, it's an interesting correlation that you brought up.
Yeah. And sir, the last point, like um, when we think negative, even though we are not speaking, even though we are not making any gestures, we are not doing any action, but our body is speaking. So more than our heart and more than our mind, I think it is the body that speaks. Like most of the people do not identify. I'm not speaking. I'm not talking. I'm not doing anything. I'm walking into a room, or somebody is walking into a room, and when you look at that person, the body speaks to each other, right? As you said, there's a shield. I wouldn't say shield, but I would say we are carrying an energy. We have an energy center around us, positive or negative, or consistent or inconsistent with the person we are meeting. We are walking energy centers. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, the thing is, this is what I was alluding to when I mentioned the para, pashanti, majhama, etc., the other layers of sabda. Because even if my body is completely still, sometimes even when you're not speaking, you may show in your facial expressions, etc., right? But the thing is, or you may be trembling, or you may be there may be some physical motion. But let's say I'm completely still physically. Still, even if I'm completely still physically, there may be a thought that is happening within me in the mind, even if I suppress it at the physical level. Because if I am physically showing it as a gesture, it is still Vaikhari, because it is at the lowest level, it is gross level, it is at the physical level. There is a vibration at the physical level. But the thing is, if I'm not moving at all physically, still it is possible that I'm thinking something, I'm visualizing something, or I'm thinking something. So the thought still has there is a sabda associated with it. Sabda Brahma has, like I mentioned, these four levels. So Vaikhari is not the only level. The other levels are even more powerful. So there is a sabda happening, there is a vibration happening, and that vibration is not in the physical body, but the subtle body. We do have a subtle body, like we have the sthula sarira, sukma sarira, karan sarira, and then finally we have the just the atman, which is not sarira, which is all pervading. So at these four levels we have these four sabdas. So if there is a sabda emanating from a body, from a person in front of you, the corresponding body of you, by body I don't mean physical body, the subtle body will absorb that, it will vibrate to that. So it will sense that, basically just like ears sense physical vibrations in the air, the subtle body senses that. And you may not be able to explicitly know where is it coming from, what is it. See, if you look at a child is hearing sounds, his ears are hearing sounds. He may not know this is mother's voice, this is father's voice, this is coming from here, this is coming from here. Development of that skill is really complicated if you think of it. In the beginning, child is just hearing voices, associating each voice with this person, associating each voice with different mood and different individual. That's a big learning which happens over a period of time. So similarly, uh, it is possible. Some people have the ability to perceive the vibrations that are touching at the subtle body level, who, where they are coming from, which person's vibrations those are, etc. What is the mood of the person? They may be able to make more sense of it, just like we make more sense of the sabda. Other thing is understanding the words that we are hearing. What is the meaning when somebody is saying these words? What does he mean? Child learns it over a period of time. Similarly, the sabda that is reaching us at other levels, it is possible to understand what it means, who's making that sound, what is the intent. So it is possible to understand a lot of these things, but it's not really that useful, so most people don't really get into it. Some people may develop these abilities, and when they do, we look at them as so-called psychics, etc. But the thing is, these things are possible because in the end everything is connected, and these things and these subtle body, etc., are real, and we are all connected beings, and we communicate with things that are bigger than just physical speech and physical gestures.
Right. Anna, would you like to, sir, would you like to add any other point before we wind up?
I think we covered a lot of ground. I think I'm happy. I don't have anything more.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Before I leave, sir also has a channel with his name. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share that channel because sir makes his regular predictions there on different aspects and different subjects. So please do like, subscribe. I'll put the link of his Twitter as well as the YouTube on the description box and also pin it in the comment section. So इसी के साथ thank you so much, sir, for joining. Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram, Har Har Mahadev.
Jai Hind, Jai Sri Ram, Har Har Mahadev. I like that slogan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.